Shield Maiden wasn't exactly the superhero name she'd been hoping for, but that little girl at the broken down apartment building complex had been just too precious. A stack of books, giant glasses, and black pigtails to match, how could Wanda turn her down? The name stuck. Shield Maiden was not a big-time superhero, she merely watched over a few streets in the worst areas of town. Gym visits and other things had made her strong thanks to her secretive benefactor. Months of preparation had devised a proper shield to wear on her arm. The banner mask had come shortly after, and the leotard suited her. It didn't really protect her from gunfire or knives, but she'd been lucky enough so far. No one had recognized her. Not that anyone would recognize her from where she was right then, buried in a stack of books at her antiques and curiosities store. Her father had left her the place and had always had something interesting coming in and ringing the little bell. A bust of George Washington sat across from a collection of bird cages, which sat across from a glass case of baseball cards, which was across from a lamp that looked like a lady's leg with fishnet stockings on it. Model planes hung from the ceiling, and the bright front window display was rotated twice a month to show something new and interesting. Right now, it was bugs. Young boys loved bugs, and displaying the beetle in amber, just $18, with the other insects drew them in sometimes. The battle with dust was constant, but Wanda loved the place and would never give it up. Suddenly, a battle alarm played. She groaned in annoyance, picking up her smartphone just in time to see the text arrive. Supers battle in progress downtown. Please take cover. Laser Wolf and Gel Girl are fighting Dr. Galaxy. Please avoid all major roadways and report to safety bunkers if able. Well, I guess I'm camping out again, Wanda said, squatting behind the counter. She pulled out her camping stuff, checking her mini-fridge, and double-checked her strongbox. After closing up shop so no one would use it as a battle shelter, she pulled the blinds and settled out on the floor behind the counter. It was after dark anyway, so she wouldn't lose any business. She had to use 2 sleeping bags to get comfortable, since she always stuck out head and shoulders from just one. She wasn't a giant, but enough days at the gym and a little help from her benefactor, she'd become, well, a little larger than most. Wanda settled on the carpeted floor with a sigh of relief. In the far, far distance she could hear the collateral damage. It was like the distant hum of thunder on the horizon. The busy metropolis was never without its superhero battles, but it did make the evening commute suck pretty hard sometimes. Thankfully, her shop was not smack in the middle of the city. Shutting off the lights, Wanda stretched out on her little nest and pondered over a farming game on her smartphone. When the battery died, she would go to sleep, she promised. When she was down to 7% on her battery, the sound of voices made her look up. She crept to the windows, peering out into the night. No one up to any good would be out this late in a closed business district during a supers fight. Wanda saw a baby stroller sitting out by itself under a street lamp. The mother stood at the entrance of the alleyway. Even from where she was watching, she could hear the little one fussing. There were 2 figures. They exchanged money and brown paper bags. Great, a drug deal right outside her business. Rushing to her strongbox, Wanda threw off her blue blouse and jeans. Leaping into the purple leotard and donning her banner mask, she fished under her workbench for her key. Opening the false bottom of the strongbox, she grabbed the leather strap and hefted the heavy metal thing onto her arm. A round shield with the alchemical sign for zinc on it. Leaving out a side door, she ran down the alleyway. Shield Maiden rounded the corner before the mother with stroller got too far ahead of her. The woman stopped, rooted to the spot, eyes wide. Shield Maiden's skin-tight purple leotard, firm shoulders, and yellow boots and gloves marked her as a superhero. You can give up now, or I can make you. That stroller isn't fooling anyone, Shield Maiden said, hefting her shield in case she had to swing. The flash of golden metal kept the woman where she stood. She slowly lifted both hands. The small speaker in the stroller started to replay the fussy baby sounds after a little jump of static. The brown bags weren't quite hidden under the dinosaur blankets. This is a good place with good people, she started forward. unclipping her pouch for the plastic zip ties that she kept there. "We don't need this poison around here." She slowly took one of the woman's wrists and then the other to zip tie them together. "I know a drug mule when I see one. Why don't you give me a few names, huh?" Just then, the two men from the alleyway rounded the corner. One of them gave a shout, pulling a 9mm from his belt. Shield Maiden shoved the woman square on her back, lifting her shield as 5, 6, 7 bullets blasted across the metallic surface. Fighting the urge to throw her shield into his face, she charged into both men with a shout. Leaping against a brick wall, she spun about, high overhead, and brought the narrow edge of her shield down like a hammer. The clank was cathartic, but a bullet scratched her cheek. Spinning past the second drug dealer with only 2 steps, she crashed the shield against the side of his head, sending him cartwheeling to the ground. The first man was trying to get up, holding a broken nose that gushed blood. She threw herself into a knee-scratching power slide, leaning back like she was in a limbo. The gun went off, sending a bullet between Shield Maiden's breasts and up past her nose. Strands of hair flew through the air. The noise was deafening. Righting herself, she grabbed his wrist with her 3-hand, and he sent 3 more bullets into the shop window behind her. Wrenching her shield up and around, she struck his temple once, twice, 3 times before he went sprawling, and the gun clattered into a storm drain. The second man was running, pausing to fire a few bullets back at her as he went. Shield Maiden crouched as the bullets bounced off her shield and then chased after him. She had longer legs and was way quicker. When she'd counted 17 bullets from him, she finally closed the distance and leapt onto his back. She swung wide, knocking him bloody with her shield. He moaned, but didn't move. She stood over him for a few moments, panting a little. She looked down at her leotard, sticking a finger into the hole above and below the weight of her breasts where the bullet had been. The skin burned a little, but she was okay otherwise. "Too close for comfort," she murmured. Quickly remembering the drug mule, she turned back the way she'd come. Of course, the woman was gone. The baby stroller was overturned. A battery-powered boombox had broken on the ground, and brown paper bags lay strewn about. She knew better than to touch them. Fingerprints and hair samples were certainly a thing these days. Switching arms with her shield, she went to a corner. The help station greeted her when it sensed movement. She picked up the receiver, left a brief message to the police, and wiped the phone with a disinfectant and left it at that. The mule had gotten away, but she would no doubt return with more product when it showed up. The police showed up within the hour, but by then Shield Maiden was long gone. From the darkness of her closed-down curiosity shops, Wanda watched the cops bag the drugs, pick up the 2 dealers, and cart them off. Gunshot residue, the broken shop window, and drugs all over the sidewalk had been plenty to nab them both. Wanda watched them scan the area only briefly and knock on a few doors. When they knocked on her shop door, she didn't move or answer. After plenty of photos were taken and evidence gathered for a few hours, all of them were gone. Wanda had made a point not to have a security camera, since catching herself running around as Shield Maiden would not have been a good idea. No doubt the cops would come asking everyone tomorrow for any camera footage that they might have. That was why Shield Maiden always had to use alleyways much of the time. The next morning, Wanda spent some time to fix her leotard's holes and see to her bullet burns. The burns were already gone by morning. That was lucky. A tiny 5-inch TV with bunny ears told her the morning news while she worked on the garment. "Once again, Dr. Galaxy evaded capture from Laser Wolf and Gel Girl, causing countless dollars of property damage in the ensuing battle," the reporter said. "Workmen and volunteers alike are stretched thin across the city, trying to clear the streets so that the emergency services can make it through. We may see another 3-day shutdown to accommodate street repair alone downtown. Construction and insurance policies continue to soar, and there seems to be no shortage of projects in and around the city. Hiring booms are at an all-time high for young people to get into the construction industry." Wanda shook her head a little. Great big battles against supernatural forces sure must have been amazing. Meanwhile, the streets around the low end of town still had to deal with normal thugs and drug dealers. Not enough police, and the supers were busy battling other supers. Mayor Eisner had this to say. Wanda looked up when the frazzled-looking politician took to a podium. It is easy to look at nothing but the negative when it comes to these colossal battles and damage like this. His sweeping arm gesture made the camera look at a football stadium that was missing part of its dome. But consider the alternative. Without the likes of Laser Wolf and Gel Girl, our city would be a pile of rubble by now. Mr. Mayor, are you saying that Laser Wolf and Gel Girl are above the law? What about the city police force? A reporter shouted over the din and flash of cameras. I've said no such thing, the mayor denied. But with evil forces like Dr. Galaxy out there, a powerhouse like no other, we should be grateful when alternative sources of good rise up to challenge him. He slammed a fist on the podium. Wanda turned the channel, tired of the mess. She hoped her apartment was still standing. Putting down the needle and thread, she checked her phone. Nope. According to all the red rectangles on the map, her building was either up in flames or inside out and up in flames, depending on what Dr. Galaxy decided to do with it during the battle. Well, at least the insurance was good for super base damages. Expensive, but good. She would be shacking up with her friends for a while, no doubt. Well, at least I've got you to keep me busy, she told the leotard with a smirk. After a time, she tugged the knot closed and then snipped the extra thread. There, good as new. Deciding people would be too busy the day after a supers battle, Wanda left the shop closed for the day, texting her friends and boyfriend that she was still alive and not in a pile of rubble at her apartment. She told them that she would meet them at their usual diner spot. Deciding on a scarlet sports bra and tight pants, she went for a run with earbuds and a charming saxophone medley to keep her company. She passed a billboard that read, "Laser Wolf LASIK Surgery, get your vision back." The hulking monstrosity of white metal and ray guns that was Laser Wolf was giving a thumbs up. Any idiot could see it was just a picture and not a real endorsement, but people did love to take advantage of the image. Little girls had had a fad of Gel Girl gel pens in high schools everywhere a few years back before they were banned. Teachers didn't want to read homework papers written in glittering neon yellow ink. She passed a playground or two, a skate park marked up in graffiti, and finally found herself at the Midway. The Midway was an arcade of local eateries and mom-and-pop shops. It was more expensive than a big box store or a chain restaurant, but these were family-run places. The shadows of the skyscrapers on the big end of town were pretty far away. Wanda always made a deal with herself since she was trying to stay in shape. If she wanted to eat any junk food there at the shopping arcade, she had to run to it and then walk all the way back. That at least bumped off some of the calories as she went. She checked her phone when it buzzed on her hip. Her Supers Battle insurance had come through. She was only renting, but all of her stuff had been accounted for by a home movie she'd sent to the SID. That is, the Super Battle Insurance Department. $9,000 even. Not bad, considering everything she owned had been destroyed. Of course, she had savings and irreplaceable stuff in safety deposit boxes and other hidden locations in her store. So the apartment wasn't a huge loss. Suddenly she realized she should call her boyfriend so he could hear her voice and know that she was okay and not just text him. She pecked at her phone a few times but turned around when she heard Ghost Rider in the Sky playing as a text tone somewhere behind her. "Oh, there she is." A tall, handsome man with a goatee and a muscle shirt flung himself forward at her ahead of two women. "Hello there," Wanda laughed as he squeezed her and lifted her up high. It was her boyfriend of 2 years, Darren. "I was worried. Your whole place is a pile of debris. You could have died. You're so lucky. Where were you? I tried to call you last night after my audition. Your phone kept going to voicemail." "Oops," Wanda mumbled as he set her down. She'd drained her phone playing her farming game and then hadn't put it on the charger until that morning. "I forgot." "You forgot? I thought you were dead," he shouted, grasping her shoulders. "Easy, Tiger." One of the two women caught up at last, pulling him off her. Jasmine spoke up in her defense. "Wanda was probably at the shop and camped out there for the night, right? No going out during a supers battle." Right. Wanda smiled gratefully as he fussed over her. I would have come. Darren pouted a little. Star-crossed lovers reunited, Aiko said blandly, gripping her laptop bag and shifting it to her other hip. Her bored expression slowly tilted into a smile at Wanda's beaming face. Glad you're safe. There wasn't an ounce of sincerity in her tone, but Wanda knew she meant it. I got $9,000 in insurance. I'll be fine. Wanda felt much more at ease as her little group of friends gathered around and started herding her into a diner. You know what this means? Jasmine bubbled. Here it comes. Aiko grumbled as they sat at a table. Group shopping trips! Jasmine squeaked in delight. We, said Aiko flatly. Darren refused to let go of Wanda's hand while they sat at the table, ordered, ate, and chatted. Oh, he turned and fished out his phone. Remember that chapstick billboard thing I was talking to you about like 2 months ago? Yes, Wanda lied. He went through so many auditions and shoots, she'd long since given up trying to keep track of them all. Well, look who's gonna be on a billboard on I-70 for the next 3 months. Darren gushed, turning his phone around to show her the picture. It showed a very glamorized Darren holding a chapstick tube with a logo and a catchphrase on it. Oh, hey, look at you, she said, throwing an arm around him to lean in close. She kissed his cheek excitedly. This is gonna be great. I'm gonna take a picture of it when it comes out and send it to Mom. You should all feel honored to know a celebrity now. Darren puffed out his chest and folded his arms impressively. Chapstick celebrity, Aiko said, flipping open her laptop to tap away at the keys while they visited for a bit. A wild screen of line graphs and timelines appeared. Jasmine leaned to read it, but Aiko shooed her a bit with one hand. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not some elven prince from another dimension, Darren said, gesturing at her laptop. How many boars and helpless forest creatures are those games having you kill today? 20 bear teeth and you get a new mage staff? He poked fun at her. I just traded $47,000 away from a gaming company that caught bad PR for the loot box debacle in Belgium, Aiko said, glancing at the clock. As of 3 minutes from now, those stocks will drop by another 17%. She adjusted her glasses, allowing herself a ghost of a smile. Wanda shivered a little. Aiko could be so clinical sometimes. That's fascinating, Jasmine said, leaning at Aiko's screen until she closed the laptop with a snap. It means Wanda doesn't have to pay rent when she moves into the house with us, Aiko said. Wanda's mouth fell open. Loot boxes are unethical and akin to gambling and video games. I was about to clear this company from my portfolio anyway. You're welcome. Aiko, I don't know what to say, Wanda gaped at her. Say thank you, Aiko said, stuffing her laptop away as she spoke. Thank you. Gotta look out for each other, Aiko said, nodding slowly and sipping her coffee. That's to help me too, right? Jasmine whined. No, you still have to pay rent, Aiko said, shooting her a look that could sharpen a razor. Wanda is homeless, not you. Aww. Jasmine laid her head in her arms. So are you still going to that police auction tomorrow? Yeah, Wanda nodded. She'd been waiting for months for this one. I almost forgot. I hope it wasn't canceled because of the Supers battle yesterday and last night. She trailed off to check her phone. They waited until she found the proper article. Oh good, it's still on. What was that again? Jasmine asked. Stuff from evidence lockers, paraphernalia, and other things that are coming up for auction, Wanda said. Now and then there's some good stuff I could sell at my shop and turn a healthy profit. What kind of horrible stuff could you find that belonged to those murderers and criminals? Darren didn't like the idea. Well, Wanda pulled up the list on her phone. Let's see, there's a crossbow, a complete raven skeleton, the diary of a serial killer from the early 1900s, several antique guns, a taxidermied fennec fox. She went down a long list of mostly morbid items. Sounds like some pretty serious stuff, Jasmine said with a frown. There's big stuff too. Cars that got bought with drug money, tons of jewelry, and other things. Wanda made a wavering hand motion. Most of it's outside my price range, but I've got my eye on about 40 small items. Gonna make a day of it, huh? Darren asked. Taking the van? Yeah, and no, I can't bring you guys with me. It's for business owners and specific invites only, Wanda said before Darren opened his mouth to ask. There was a group-sized groan. Don't worry, it's boring, I promise. She pinched Darren's cheek and he grinned at her. Ugh, not my moneymaker. We're going to have to work out how things work between you two at my house, by the way, Aiko said, looking up from her coffee. What do you mean? If I have to listen to you two go at it for 2 hours a second time, I may shoot myself, Aiko said without an ounce of humor. Wanda and Darren both blushed and Jasmine snickered aloud. Well, we'll keep private things over at my place. How about that? Darren said. As a matter of fact, he paused and bit his lip a little. Wanda could see him screwing up his courage. Why don't you move in with me? He said. I know my place isn't the Taj Mahal, but, he trailed off at the look Wanda gave him. Not ready for that step? No, Wanda said firmly. When she saw him deflate, she put a hand on his leg. Not yet, anyway, she amended. That seemed to cheer him up a little. You romantic types. Jasmine stood up and stretched, flipping her sunglasses on. Not all of us own stores or trade $10,000 stocks. Some of us has to work for a living. I gotta head out. Pick up eggs, camera girl, Aiko said, not looking up from her phone. Right. Jasmine was off and away. You've got all afternoon to shop and stuff. Why don't I come pick you up later and we'll go have dinner together? Darren offered, trying to dig himself out of the stab at commitment. I've got an afternoon shoot, but I could pick you up after 6 or so. Wanda agreed, and Darren was away as well. He's just trying to get into your pants, Aiko said disinterestedly. He's been in my pants many times, and you know that. Yes, I know that, Aiko murmured, sipping her coffee and tapping away at her phone. All too well. He thought I was dead last night. He needs some snuggle time anyway. Snuggle time. Just be safe when you go out to that police auction. The live-in population that auction is taking place in front of tops out at 1,600. That's a lot of murderers, rapists, and pedophiles. She turned her phone around to show the news article from not long ago. A riot had left 2 guards dead and dozens of prisoners hospitalized. The money made is going towards hiring more guards and getting them better equipment, so don't worry so much. Don't bring home a crossbow, Aiko said, sliding a house key across the table to her. There was a short silence. I'm glad you're not dead, she said quietly. Aiko offered a small, lazy cat-looking smile. Glad you're not dead too, Wanda grinned, taking the key. I'll be home late and crash on the couch, so we'll worry about sleeping arrangements and stuff later, right? Right, Aiko agreed. Wanda left Aiko sitting there with her laptop and her stock trading to buy some essentials. After hitting the Midway shopping district, she got all the essentials she needed, like a toothbrush and underwear, before finding some formal wear for the auction itself. She couldn't carry everything, but by the time she was done, she had 2 armloads to bring to her new home with her friends. She was thankful she had her shop to hide all of her Shield Maiden stuff, otherwise her friends might have discovered a few things they shouldn't have. That evening, she got a big, enthusiastic welcome home from Jasmine and a mild wave from Aiko when she arrived. She got her own room, which was nice, but it was full of dusty boxes that they would have to clean out later. Aiko signed Wanda into a very simple month-to-month renter's agreement since she owned the house. 1/3 of the chores, 1/3 of the lawn work, easy as that. Despite Wanda's protest, Aiko wouldn't charge her for rent. Not yet, at least. I've got a spare standing mirror, Jasmine said, tugging it out of a closet and into Wanda's new room. You're going out with Darren tonight, so you better get dressed up. Right. Wanda smiled, biting her lip at her image in the mirror. Right. It was no secret she was jealous of Jasmine's enormous boobs and wished she had hair as luxuriously black and silky as Aiko's, but she certainly had some assets to work with. She showered, cleaned up, and puzzled over her two formal wear dresses. Girls? She stood in the hallway in her underwear, holding both garments. Black says formal date, don't touch me, Aiko said after glancing up at her. Red says sexy time. Jasmine pumped a fist in the air with a laugh. Wanda went with red. It was a simple dress with no shoulder straps and a bit of a lift for her breasts. She checked herself back and forth and, remembering her lipstick at the last possible second, grabbed her purse to go. When she opened the door, she found Darren lifting his hand to knock. Hey, wow, you look great. Back by 10. Aiko said in some flat attempt at a joke. Thanks, Mom. Wanda laughed over her shoulder. Darren gave a friendly wave as they left, and Jasmine shut the door behind them. Darren took Wanda out, half to celebrate his new billboard victory, half to celebrate her being alive. They chose a sit-down fish place, argued a little over her calling him during such an emergency, and later kissed under a streetlight. Darren was adorably handsome, always smelled good, and certainly had a chest broad enough to get lost on. Wanda did feel bad for leaving him in the dark for over 12 hours when she could have been buried under a ruined building. They decided to go back to his place for the night. Wanda's apology for worrying him so badly sounded like bed springs, smelled like cheap cherry wine, and tasted like semen. His goatee tickled all the right places, though. When she came back from the bathroom to cuddle, he'd already fallen asleep from exhaustion. Shaking her head and grinning at him, she kissed his face. Quietly gathering her things, she decided to leave. They'd been dating for 2 years, but there was something about staying over at a man's place. She just wasn't ready for that sort of thing. Too much commitment. Too much chance of him discovering her secret identity as well. When she looked presentable to be outside after a night of passion, she got her purse and very quietly slipped out. By the time she got back to Aiko and Jasmine's house, well, her house too now, it was well past 2 in the morning. The auction started at 10:30. Grumbling a little, she threw off her clothes and crawled into her sleeping bags for the night. She slept hard and happy. Donning the black dress the next day, Wanda had to take a cab to her shop on the other side of town to get to her van. Jasmine playfully called it Wanda's company car, but it had plenty of room once the seats had all been torn out. She used it to transport strange things from buy sites like the upcoming auction over to the shop where she could price them and set them up for display. It was meant to seat 12, but it was cavernous now. She'd stocked it with boxes, bubble wrap, and tagging supplies so that she could be safe about whatever she was transporting. Before she went on her way, she paused and looked behind the counter at her strongbox. She bit her lip for a moment. A long time ago, Wanda had read an article about women wearing sexy underwear to work. Supposedly, it made them feel more confident and they were more successful in the workplace even if no one knew what they were wearing under their regular clothes. She thought about it for a few moments and then smiled and stripped in the middle of the store. Popping open the strongbox, she squeezed into the skin-tight purple leotard. The boots, belt, and gloves would have to stay in the box. Why not? She put her dress back on and threw the whole thing into the van. In case there's a freakish jailbreak during the auction, I can say I came prepared. Pausing to secure the strongbox under all the rest, she made sure her heavy shield wouldn't rattle around. With the leotard hugging her firmly under her formal dress, she did feel a bit sexier. Stronger somehow. Grinning into the rearview mirror, she started the engine and was away.